Okay, we're gonna call the meeting to order for the Richmond Township Planning Commission. Guess we're all ready to go.
The other two aren't gonna be here.
What's that?
Are they not coming tonight? Or just
Nick
not?
said he was supposed to be here, but
We have three, so we can operate.
Yeah.
Just curious for me.
I'm not sure. Can I vote?
Why couldn't you?
I'm a shareholder.
Ask the lawyer.
Unless there's a tie vote, no.
Okay. Well.
yeah, Nick said he was supposed to be here tonight. I said he was the first one to respond back and say he was gonna be here tonight, so.
When was that?
When I first sent
Oh, that was last week, about this time last
Yeah.
week. wasn't it?
yeah,
I don't do anything on the computer. My wife gives me orders and that's all. She says, text me or whatever you, just email you.
emailed, yep.
Hypothetical here, Michelle, should they wait to have the planning commission? Well, I'm just talking aloud. Have them make a formal recommendation, or can there be a discussion and generally if it just went to the board without the recommendation, or should there be a recommendation, I guess is that the way I should phrase it.
There should be a recommendation.
Yeah.
We can have a discussion with the two members. I mean, we have a quorum present. If we want to go ahead and do the meeting minutes and the dates and just for next year and the ordinance things, just to see if Nick shows up. See if he's running late.
We're good to go. Okay. All righty. Did everybody have a chance to see the minutes from last month for the November meeting? Not the November meeting, October meeting. There any or no questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve them. Ben moves.
I wasn't here.
I'll second this.
We're running thin.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I misspoke.
Anybody good at directing traffic? No, forget it. Okay. We have a motion. I second that motion. All in favor say aye to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried.
We'll just ratify them next month as well.
Okay. You know, this is something we never came across over all the years I've been around here, and I've been around since, well, a long time.
Not having the numbers.
Right, well, she a shareholder
Yeah.
and that kind of thing, but anyway, we'll survive. Is any public participation on things on the agenda tonight? User on the agenda. Nobody wants to say anything, okay. Any old business? New business, Kutztown produce auction, a waiver for land development. Scott, you want to explain it to us?
So I've had you guys fill in the blanks here, and what I did, and unfortunately I threw this together tonight, but I think it's better to just kind of go through. I'll give what I understand and what I know of what's being proposed. They can chime in and help clarify a little bit more. But you have, behind the letter were the 2 pages that were submitted with the waiver request. It really outlines the 2 properties that they have. And the first page shows the 60-foot by 180-foot, what it is described as the hoop house that they're looking to put on the property. In the letter here, we reviewed this and I basically made some statements just to provide a little bit more information. And Ethan, yeah, and I spoke with you. I was Jeff Fine and I were the ones who spoke with it.
Right.
So when we spoke with them, the hoop house is really to provide additional covered area for seasonal items that they have, pumpkins or whatnot, landscaping as well. The building is proposed, as you see in the picture, between the 2 properties, but on the property line. And some of the discussions we've had They were willing to consolidate the two deeds, and I will let Michelle kind of speak to that a little bit here, but generally speaking, having the deeds consolidated so that that property line, which you'd have a structure sitting on a property line which is in violation of the setbacks for each of those properties, this could be acceptable as far as the solicitor is concerned, but with some more discussion there, I think that we can have. I'll just kind of keep going here on the points. Basically, as it's shown, there is a minor area of the building that would be on a grass, not currently stone area. But given the fact that you can have up to 500 square feet, I don't think if it's shown the way that it would really require stormwater. However, if it did need stormwater, they'd have to provide that to meet the requirements. But if you're generally speaking 500 to 1,000 square feet or a little more.
Interrupt.
Yeah.
Because it's a hoop building, you get away from stormwater.
It's from building, from the building code, it wouldn't have to go through the building code, but it would still need to meet the stormwater requirements.
We're covering a pretty large area of impervious surface.
Yeah, and you're allowed an extra 500 square feet of new impervious, and if it's beyond that, the township does have small projects that you can meet by basically like when you install the new building, you could put in a stone pit along the edge of the building or something to allow for the infiltration. If the majority of this building is on a stone surface, it would probably be pretty minimal as far as what you'd have to do for stormwater if you'd have to. But
Yeah, I understand.
yeah, I still think that's just a separate ordinance, but
Right.
I think it'd be pretty minimal if it follows what the sketch there is. So, yeah, the other intent was not to change anything as the existing driveways. So there's two driveways to the property. They wanted to maintain those and basically be the same parking lot areas. There was a discussion that the northern property is part of the Clean and Green program. The driveway portion is not included in that acreage, so I don't think that would affect them at all. But that's not a township requirement. That's just, we make the statement that if that's part of what you need to have addressed personally for the property, it needs to be addressed as part of the process. But that's kind of my quick summary here. And then obviously if there's any building permits or a zoning permit that would be needed, I think it's just the zoning permit in this application, but they would still have to do so for that submission. Let us know what I missed.
We actually pushed that building back a tad that is just off the property line. We actually changed it. We did not change it on your plan, just so you know it. Still the same square footage building. It'll be right off the property line. That does not change our property line issue as far as combining the properties. We are ready with the signature and hand it to my realtor to combine the deeds. I need an expert opinion no, I don't need opinions. I need a fact. If that is enough.
As far as the deeds go, we've consulted with Attorney Hartman. We've discussed this with Scott. We would ask if you consolidate the deeds. Number one, our office needs to review them. Number two, there needs to be language added that says it cannot undergo land development or be subdivided in the future without going through the land development subdivision process.
And we want it that way. We wanted one property. We're using it as one property and we want it to stay there. We don't want anybody to be able to sell half of it.
And it's just in the future, if something happens, we don't know that we see a plan that goes through this process.
So would you repeat that?
And I'll send you there, I have language, I just don't have it in front of me, but it's generally along the lines of,
Language needs to be added.
to the deeds. So we'd have the partial descriptions, and then you'd have the language at the bottom that says something along the lines, these properties cannot be unsubdivided or further subdivided without going through the township land development process.
Thank you.
And I'll get you the exact language, but it's generally, that's what it
You
is.
will send me the exact language?
Probably early next week, because I'm away starting tomorrow.
Are you going to be sending it to me personally or to the auction?
You tell me.
I'd like to have it sent to me personally.
Okay.
That's 14034. Kutztown Road.
Okay. Do you,
Ethan Burkholder.
okay. Would it be quicker if I send it to Jen and you stop by here and pick it up or something?
If Jen lets me know as soon as she has it, yes.
Yeah, we're closed.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get to it because I'm traveling the rest of the week.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, because I'm closed Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
It'll be next week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, let me know. once you
Okay,
got it.
yeah.
Sure, that'll be perfect. Yeah.
I just, the mail system just takes so long and,
All right, it's rather independent.
sure, yes.
Okay, if I'm understanding them, they're moving this building north?
Yeah. Enough that it's right off the line. It's totally to get our, use our driveway better. It would have gotten a little tight.
Yeah, you have a building right there where you, right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It got a little tight, so we pushed it back. We thought we couldn't because of the transmission line right away, but there was room. After all, once we actually found out what the transmission line right away was. Transmission line right away is 60 feet. And they're getting ready to work on that line there. You might know that.
I see they're there almost every day.
Yeah. Anyway, they're going to work on that. So we found out exactly where it was. We measured it, and we could push that building off back there. Gives us a little more room to operate between the two buildings. I don't think it should change anything except it's back about 30 feet from what your line is.
So,
We
and
did.
I'm just curious, where's the easement for the power line, your transmission line is back here?
It does not show on there, but
Somewhere
the
around
power line.
74, right at 74, 77 and every.
Up here.
it,
So
it runs like this.
I did see
And-
that.
and
Oh,
that's
this is actually,
the problem. It's at an angle, and
so the corner of it is what you.
yeah, this was the corner that would have conflict,
Mhm.
but we were further away here than we had measured the first time. We were further away from the property line here. So, well, once we could push it back 30 feet, that we're right on there, it would give us a real nice loading area. Basically using exactly what it was used for. We would have been covering part of our unloading area, unloading and loading area. It wasn't what we wanted to do, but we thought we couldn't go further because it was against the line.
So, and I have just a couple of quick questions, because
Go ahead.
like I said, when you go to put this in, it'll still have to meet the zoning requirements.
Correct.
So-
And I talked to Jeff on that. We're still there.
Okay, well, that part's good. My-
We have the flexibility to stay 15 feet off of that line if it makes any difference. But
I would say, and this is just my 2 cents, Jeff's gonna basically he's gonna be saying the same things at one point or another, but wherever that's going, there should be access that one or possibly 2 cars, depending on how they get through here, and that's one of the things that you guys all look at as you're
that was
doing.
one reason we put it back here. So if the corner's right there, we got room for a highway between there. Now it would have gotten a little tight.
Yeah, they have a driveway going back to that field.
Yeah, that's in it with it's hard to say how much it's gonna take up. I think from that, I was just doing rough measurements from the edge of that pavement where Ken stops behind his house over the property line, it was 150 feet.
Yeah, it
So
sounds
there's more room there than you think.
Yeah, it is.
But it's just as long as the vehicles can kind of
Yeah.
get around
Yeah,
it.
the traffic
parking-
flow is fine. We actually staked it off temporarily, and we're happy with the way we now have it.
And the other part I just wanted to say is with the waivers of the land development, they do still, when he looks at the zoning, he's gonna be looking at, well, how much does get over a new grassed area? And if there
And
is
we were
reason
in
for
conversation
stormwater,
with
then.
Jeff about that.
Okay.
And he told me it's fine. He told me, yeah, he actually told me what you told me.
If you guys talked about this further.
We probably put an infiltration area around the back here.
Okay.
Yeah, just a stone ditch. He told me that.
Okay.
So obviously you're on the same page.
Yeah,
And I'm
and
happy
then
with
as
that.
we'll get there through the process at one point or another.
Okay,
But
very
it's-
good.
It depends on, it just has to go through the proper avenues here with planning commission and board to make that decision, so. I don't know what other questions you guys have.
I don't have any questions. These guys have any?
The only comments I have, I checked with Chris, he said you can vote with 2.
That's fine.
He said, because that would be a quorum as present, so he's okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah. I think is there an escrow for a request for waiver of land development?
They had posted money, yes.
Yes. Because we would have to record the deeds, and we've had some discussions about the lot line. And just so you know, you'd have to pay for the township's attorney's fees, which are,
You have to record the deed, the township.
no. We would have to review the deed,
Review the
deed, and for me being here tonight and some
Correct.
discussions we've had with Scott, it's
Correct.
not gonna be a large amount, but just so you understand, we'd be billing you for those costs as well.
Hey, I like to get paid when I work here.
I just wanted to make you aware of that, because it may exceed the
Understood.
$500 escrow.
We'll do what we have to do. We need to move forward on this if we can.
Yeah,
We would
it's-
really like to get this thing built till next spring. Then we can do to speed up the process. That's all I have to say.
So ultimately, they're here to request the waiver of the land development process. Again, it's kind of, the way they're approaching this is it's not necessarily an expansion of the building, but being able to create more working space to do what they're doing already on that smaller property.
Put it in, we need cover if it rains for our property. If it'd be dry as this fall, every fall, we would have no problem keeping on where we are.
Okay, I have a little dumb question, I guess. Let's say you're not using it for pumpkins right now. Well, this thing's gonna be so big, you can probably still use it for pumpkins and stuff like that. Can you grab loads of hay in and park them?
We will be using it for the hay auction if it rains.
I mean, I've been there on miserable days when the hay was sitting out back.
You and I both.
Yeah, I mean. you can use it-
Over winter,
you
I
can
mean,
use it
if
for
we're
other
not
things.
using for pumpkins, it will be used for hay sales, I'm absolutely sure.
Okay, just a dumb question I had.
It actually came up, we discussed
Okay,
I think it'd boost our hay sales on wet days.
I would
If we
think
have
so.
room inside, they know we have room inside.
This is coming from a guy who hasn't gone there for the auction, and what else? Pumpkins, obviously, and the hay makes sense. What else do you use
Well, right
would
now-
benefit?
Right now, we have Christmas trees that are sitting outside, and tomorrow we have auction, and the trees are all outside. If it's this time of the year, if you have a rainy, snowy day or something like it was
when you have a
last
shrubbery
Friday,
auction,
it'll
that whole back of the
Yeah,
building
right.
is full of shrubbery. I mean, you could probably put that in.
That's basically just about anything, really. that you
We
can
will,
already-
we are planning to put all the skids of produce in there. So starting somewhere in June, when skids of produce come in, we sell the skid produce first, the big lots first, so the big buyers can buy and get out of there. And we are planning to have our skid auction in there at all times. And as soon as So the peak of the produce skids is somewhere in August, once the cantaloupes, watermelons, tomatoes, and everything is coming in skid lots. And before that's over, the pumpkins will be starting. And once the pumpkins are over, from the rest of the winter, about Halloween, the rest of the winter, we probably won't be using it much except for hay sales.
So we're gonna be a gravel base on the, you're not gonna have like a concrete floor or anything,
We will be planning on putting in concrete floor.
and then they're gonna have like knee walls, it's gonna sit on concrete walls.
Actually, it is engineered with an 8x8 I-beam. Not sure if it's 8 or 10 feet,
Right.
a knee wall, and that'll be enclosed. I'm not sure with what yet. That's not part of the engineered building.
Right.
We'll be closing that up to 8 or 10 foot part, and it'll be a hoop building over that.
Okay.
It will be a knee wall. It's,
Right.
and that, and we will be having, at this point, we're having both gable ends open, but we'll be having a side opening halfway out. So it's 180 feet, and in the middle of that 180 at 90 feet, we'll have an opening for loading and unloading both sides, or we can drive through there to load and unload. Depends on our traffic flow. We'll be figuring that out once we have it built.
And,
So we can load and unload at both ends and the middle.
yeah, I'm just trying to picture it, right, when you got a level that lot, that's a pretty big pad to level.
It is. We actually thought we were going to have to move a lot of dirt at the back end, but it's a lot closer to level than we thought. We might have to fill in just a tad in the low spot there, but it's not bad. We were a little scared about the rocks back there, but they won't make terrible lot of trouble. Surprisingly.
Okay, we're back to land development. You want a waiver for land development?
They do, I don't.
Okay, we'll give it to Scott Mead to transfer.
And one other thing, because we were talking about that, it's, if it does get to the point where it's 5,000 square feet or more outside of that stoned area, I just have to say it on behalf of the township, that it should get the environmental permits from the conservation district. Once you start getting into that, but I mean, that's if it's an obvious thing when they're out there, when you're working and they're coming out to check on the permits, they have to, just to protect the township, but I'm just saying that now so that we are on the same page.
500.
No, it's 5,000 square, that's, if it's more than 5,000 where you're just digging up. And if they could, you don't
5,000,
have to,
am I correct that it's 5,000 square feet of new disturbed?
it wouldn't be the stone. I mean, they kind of, that used to be up in the air, but they've been better about it. They let the sheets get away with not having to do any ENS plan because everything is either stoned or they'll keep it in stone. So it's additional 5,000 disturbance, but it's just something I gotta throw in there just because it's part of
Thank
the
you.
township regulations. But,
Okay,
Yeah.
we're looking for a motion to waive the land development situation. I'll move that.
If I may, I would just make a condition on, since we're not recording a plan, that no building permit should be released until, or zoning permits until the deed's recorded. Until they agree to pay for all fees and the deed is, and they record a deed.
Okay, so,
I think you're just gonna say that.
well, that'll be in the motion. I hope, Chen, you get all that?
Yes, I did.
No building permit will be issued until all the Ts are crossed and the Is are dotted. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll move to waive the land development with all that in the writing. Sam, or not Sam, Ben, you,
I can second that.
Ben seconds it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried.
And for the record, just state the reason you're abstaining, and there's a short memo you'll have to fill out as to why you're abstaining for the record.
Okay.
Well, okay, that'll be in the minutes that he was.
I happen to be one of the 33 shareholders.
That's, yeah, we just have to make sure that he's abstaining and the reason he has to.
And we won't penalize him tonight.
We won't, but we don't want the ethics commission.
I know.
So I'll get Jen just to do a short memo and have you sign this sometime you're in here.
Okay. Anything else?
I have a
One,
question.
I was gonna say real quick, and I think because of the discussion we had, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to recommend that they come to the supervisors meeting.
Well, supervisor will have to waive land development, yes.
So, but to have
When-
them there
when
and
is
just
that
answer any
meeting?
questions.
Oh, yes.
That is,
What, the next one is the 9th of December.
Supervisors meeting,
Yes.
and we will be automatically on the agenda.
I think Jen will put you on.
Yeah,
Jen, you will put us on, that's what I'm asking, that's
Yep.
my question.
Yeah.
December 9th.
yes. Yep, second Monday of December.
I thank
Was
you.
that your question?
That was my question.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. Do you need anything else from us tonight?
I don't think so. If you do have, if that picture has changed from what you're doing and you want to bring a different sketch with you to the meeting, it can't hurt. You wouldn't have to, we can just discuss it too.
Thank you. Thank you very much, gentlemen. You have a good evening.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda is approval of our meeting dates and times for the meeting through 2025.
Before we get to 2025, when are we meeting in December? If needed,
The board meeting is the 9th.
Yes.
are we meeting the 30th? If needed?
Oh, for planning.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Do we need to?
I don't have anything on the agenda, well, it's not December yet.
I'm just, if we need to meet, will
I
the
hear
meeting be on December 30th?
Yeah.
I don't have it in front of me, I don't have the schedule.
That's when I had one that, I have. it
That's the
on
last Monday.
Okay, yes,
Okay, I just want you, I was thinking about that driving up here, so.
yes.
Yeah.
So we have a New Year's Eve party or? No, 30th, no.
I'll bring the hats.
Day before my anniversary, I have to go to a meeting.
Oh.
That's it.
Okay.
That's
you
my
have
kid's
the-
birthday. I'll find a way to cancel it, don't worry.
Let's handle the first thing here first, the meeting dates. You have a copy in your folder.
Yes.
27th is reorganization. I think Easter's in the middle of April, I think, something like that.
Mhm. Yeah, I made sure that there was no holidays around there,
Right.
and if there was, I moved it up.
Do you know when Thanksgiving is next year? I don't know.
It is,
All right, don't hurt on a Monday night. No, it'll,
it's the 27th.
Oh, yeah, you wouldn't.
okay. Everybody agree with the meeting dates?
What time do we want to get together? I know we've discussed earlier times, or do we want to stick with 7 o'clock? Do we want 6:30? Do we want 6 o'clock?
You guys tell me. I can live with anything, almost.
I'm good at 6:30.
Yeah, I'm fine with 6:30.
Okay, looks like
All right,
we're having a recommendation by somebody for 6:30. One of you guys want to make that a motion?
I make a motion, we go to 6:30.
And then Ben will second it. Okay. And the meeting dates we have there, so we're gonna include that with the motion, if that's all right with you guys. For the meeting dates and the time being 6:30, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? Motion carried. If we go any earlier, Jen's gonna be making meals for us.
Oh, they said you, not me.
I make a meal at home, and then I come in and I'll make a meal for you guys.
I lost my agenda.
No, I could jump in here too, because it's miscellaneous business.
Yes,
I just handed it out tonight, so technically it's just me kind of informing you on a couple things here. This was, the board thought it'd be a good idea to, actually, I think it started with this group. There's a handful of waivers that just keep coming up regularly that we don't think twice about. So the thought is to update the ordinances so that they're not necessarily a waiver where we don't need them. And I listed the ones that have been most commonly waivers lately. If you had seen this, it's kind of this
Yeah, I passed it.
short time. So I think the first one that always comes up, but I think it's good to keep it there, is the preliminary plan process to allow for a preliminary final. I think that should stay something that they request, because sometimes you get somebody that's in here for the first time and asks for that. I don't think there's really a need to have that consideration unless they've been in multiple times as a preliminary plan and they've been picking away at the issues. Now, if they want to go in for one meeting for preliminary, and for the most part, it's just the outside agencies and that, they should go through the process. So I put that down there because it's regularly asked, but I don't think we should, that's one I don't think we should change. I think we should stay there. Plan scale, 1 inch equals 30. That's actually one of the common ones that they show, but the ordinance says it's either 1 to 20 or 1 to 50. And what I didn't get finalized and what I want to work on here is the wording so you can see it. But an example of one we have is preliminary plan shall be drawn to the largest scale practical. Scale shall be in the increments of 10 feet of either 1 to 20, 30, 40, or 50. So it's basically saying between the options we gave you, we'll take the other ones, but then it says in there at the discretion of the township. It's really, as long as it's legible and it's a scale that makes sense, we've never really,
In other words, you won't have to come to us for a waiver for it
yeah,
if you have it written the right way.
if it's exactly. That's what we're looking to do on most of this stuff. So that was just an example. Another one is the plan. Well, that was, I'm sorry. I think I'm saying two things there. Plan is drawn to a scale of 1 inch equals 50. Plan is 1 inch. Why is that too good?
The two different sections are they?
Blame your secretary.
I don't. Yeah, I looked at these both and thought I had it either or. I just know they're regular. I'm going to have a better wording here for these of what it is now, what we're proposing,
And then we can vote on it at the
and then
next
we can
meeting
look
or
at it at the
whatever.
next meeting and
Authorize our office actually put it into an ordinance format.
yeah. So I just wanted to go through, there's two different scale issues that we always have, and that's supposed to be the 506-1, 608-1. The other one is a complete and precise boundary survey is to be complete. That's usually not a question, but you get into these larger properties that might be 100 plus acres, and typically the surveyor is saying, well, if we do an immediate survey of the property that we're maybe doing something and then just do a quick boundary survey, is that acceptable and not topo the whole thing? I think we can write it in a way that maybe we have a size of a property that comes into play. That's the 608.504. 804.1.4, that one actually has been waived a few times, but that's another one I don't think we should change. That gets into having a lot that's almost like a flag lot, where it's a lot longer than it is wide. And that's been kind of, that's typical standard that I don't think we really want to change there either. But again, I was just kind of listing them so we can go through them. The stormwater modifications, not waivers. I'm getting better at that. Those are really just, I went through a lot of the ordinance section to make sure that these are the only two. And really, I see just these two, but 36 inches from any limiting zone, basically stone or limestone or problems on the property. That's DEP allows for 24 inches, so at least a 2-foot buffer. And then we should bump it up to that, stay consistent with the DEP requirements. And then the other one is the basin to either infiltrate or discharge all the water in the basin in 24 hours. That's the way the ordinance says it. That's 72, and that's basically because you're trying to encourage it to infiltrate and not in, if it's too quick, it's probably just surcharging too quickly into the ground, but if it's discharging, then it's going right back into the creek too quickly, which you're trying to prevent. 72 hours or less is what DEP has in there, and we've actually waived these two or three times in the past year here. So I think to make these more consistent with the
So you're gonna
state
give us proper wording like you think, like you just mentioned, of course, and then we'll vote on it at one of the future meetings.
Yep, and the only other thing I want to propose here, and Jen didn't know this was coming, but I think she'd like it. The consideration, right now, when you have a preliminary plan, it requires that you have 13 prints of the land development plan, 7 copies of everything else that's required, so your stormwater reports or any other studies that have to be done. If there's a PennDOT submission, all those are 7 copies. And then 5 copies of the application. And one of the things some of the other municipalities are doing to try to cut back on the amount of paper that's coming in, because most of it just gets thrown away in the end. I don't know how many people take anything home. Do you guys take plans home or do you usually leave the prints here?
I give it to the grandchildren, they love it.
The only time I pick up plans is when somebody is not here, but everyone else takes their stuff when I'm.
So they do take them
Yes,
with them?
yeah, just like the board of supervisors, they take their packets and they take them with them.
Okay. Some places are saying submit 6, or I'm trying to think, well, it's right here, I'm sorry.
Well, I think the number can be cut back.
Yeah, they'll say 8 plans, 2 applications, and then 3 copies of supplemental. And then they'll go into subsequent submissions, and then they knock that down to 3 plans. No, I'm sorry, 5 plans, 3 for the boards and the supervisors. So the ones that are probably going to change get cut back so that it's not, everybody has 3 or 4 copies of these things when the project's done. And then they always have 1 plan submitted on an electronic file, whether it's PDF or some other kind of
Yeah,
format.
we just did that when we were supposed to from Maxitani.
And that then allows Jen to keep 1 copy and an electronic copy and be plenty covered with everything. That's just a suggestion, but it's,
Any
if everybody's,
questions on that?
yeah,
Sounds
taking them.
good.
I always believe in keeping it simple. That's what you want to do.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I'll get a few of these and draw what seems to be the most consistent as far as cutting them back. It's not a total amount. You still have to have copies and
Right.
for different aspects of who may come in and look at them too. So, okay, I'll put something together. And again, this is just to give you an idea of the sections, what we're looking at, what I found. Some of them that are getting waived, but I don't think we should change it. Some things need to be there just in case you want to hold your ground and say no. So I'll get that together. I actually plan on putting something together and sending it out by email before the meeting, probably in the next 2 weeks or less, just to say, here's what it would look like. And if everybody's all right with that, then we can work in the shell.
Okay, I think that takes care of miscellaneous. And I don't think the public has anything that they want to talk about. Meeting dates, meeting times, everything's taken care of. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Sam moves. You're not a stockholder there. You know. And seconds, any discussion or question? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thanks for coming out.
Is Ethan does he have the biggest share? Is that why he takes?
No, he's just president of the corporation at this time. I just get whoever, whatever's. In fact, Stephen Burkholder has the largest, unless